Hello and welcome to Monday. It's 2 o'clock right now, and we are here to talk about something that's been in the works for a couple of weeks now. And that would be Michelle Zauner's, Japanese breakfast's Jubilee. Uh, Jubilee came out roughly 2 years ago. Almost to the day. I was a week late. This review was supposed to come out last Monday. It didn't for obvious reasons. And as a result, it got pushed to this Monday. Meaning, instead of it being 1 year or 2 years in one day, it's 2 years and 8 days. Close enough, right? um, I'm not so sure if I told the story of how I picked this up. I was actually at the listening party for Fall Out Boy's most recent album, So Much for Stardust. And at the listening party, it was at a record store, and I was just browsing through all of the records. And I came across this one. What stood out to me is that I saw it in like maybe my recommendations, or I saw this art in my recommendations. I'm like, okay, well, it stood out to me. Like, it's very striking. It's lead singer Michelle Zauner and frontwoman of the band, in just a bunch of with just a bunch of persimmons. And if I remove this from its sleeve, that's what this is called. Like, the interior artwork is so good too. Unfortunately, this is just a pressed on like generic black vinyl and not anything special. But like, look how nice that. Like, look at that. That's so good. You got all the lyrics in here too. Oh, it's so much fun. Really, really incredible work, and it's so good, so good. Anyway, let's talk about this album. So, I've spoken about Michelle Zauner in the past. I've spoken about Crying H Mart in the past. I finally have a physical copy of the book, and don't worry, we're going to be talking about the opposite of this book probably tomorrow. But yeah, this album came out 2 years ago, and I only picked it up when I was in the store because it was very striking, like super striking. And when I saw it, I was like, okay, I'll give it a listen when I get home, and I did. And then a couple of days later, I went to pick it up once more, and from the store. Had a bit of a hard time finding it, but we got it in the end, so that's all good. But yeah, this album, this is a fun one. This is the first time I feel like I'm actually reviewing an album that has a Grammy nomination. Of all the albums that I've reviewed, some have awards from different things. Like, I know Pup's Morbid Stuff was one that I touched upon at the beginning of this year. I know had won an award, and while I stick to like some indie and like not too well known stuff that I enjoy personally, this one is really something else because, like I said, it has a Grammy nomination. This album came out June 2nd. What is today? Today's the 12th, so -8, June 4th. I think it was June 4th. Yes, June 4th, 2021. And it was nominated for a Grammy that year, which is super cool. But let's talk about why, right? Now, in the past, Japanese Breakfast has been known for very breathy, airy, ambient indie rock, indie pop kind of thing, with heavy focus on how do I say this? I don't. I have it. Yeah. Okay. It focused heavily on her mother's death, which is something that we talked about in Crying in H Mart, which is her memoir, which came out only a couple weeks before the release of this album. The results of her mother's death had impacted her music so much, and we still see the effects on this record. The thing is, the way Jubilee is talked about, it's a celebration. A Jubilee is a big, grand celebration, and that's seen in the first track off the record, Paprika. The song is basically a huge marching band orchestration. The Japanese Breakfast ended up filling up the entire digital audio workstation that they used. I think it might have been Pro Tools or something of that nature. It was, yes, Pro Tools. They ended up maxing out the Pro Tools session with like a tracks. It's so grandiose, and there's just so much going on. It's a hell of a way to open up an album, and it's really something else. Very grand, very just big instrumentation. Zonner's vocals are very airy, breathy, and very high pitched. Her range is pretty like insane, and hearing her like express that range on this album is just something else. Next song on the listing is Be Sweet, probably one of my favorites, and it's just a funky 80s tune. Originally written as just like what is it, like a song that's was just meant to make money. Zonner ended up falling in love with the song, and it's such a fun, funky tune about trying to each song on this record is like very kind of dark at some points. Paprika is very, very bright and opening. It's just like welcoming. It's a celebration. And then while the rest of the record kind of revolves around that theme, it gets darker and darker. Something we see on Psychopomp, something we see on Soft Sounds from Another Planet. Be Sweet is about fantasizing about a lover or partner leaving and trying to like hold on to them, or trying to like capture that fleeting moment. Kokomo Inn is about a city in Kokomo. Well, it's about the city of Kokomo in Indiana. Originally written about a song of a young boy taking on the world. I think it was based off one of the managers or like someone that Michelle knows, and it was just like some middle town in the middle of nowhere that eventually got changed name to Kokomo. Slide Tackle is a pretty fun song. It's very standout. Like, it has an incredible saxophone on it. Oh, so good. Also, the reason I'm like very hot and sweaty, the AC isn't working. I talked about that yesterday. It's very hot. But we're not gonna get that fixed for a while, so it's gonna be something I have to deal with. Yeah, Slide Tackle is a lot of fun. It's about wrestling your brain into submission to force yourself to have fun. It's really, really like, I love this. The saxophone on that is so good, and I can just hear it playing, and it's probably the best part about that track. Posing in Bondage is very, very. Each song feels very unique on this record. Posing in Bondage is about just how it's about monogamy, honestly. The lyrics on this are very just breathy and like apart and like segmented. The way that Michelle is able to like express my favorite line on it, which is in the novel Crying in H Mart, is when the world divides into two people, those who have felt pain and those who have yet to. Oh, it's so good, so good. I cannot stop like praising this album. However, the weakest song on this record probably is Sit. It does feel like it's off the band's sophomore album, which is Soft Sounds from Another Planet, and it's just about the emotion of lust and desire and being whether you're able to act on that feeling or not, whether it's something you want to do. While it's normal for somebody to experience, it's also important that you focus on your partner and deal with that need in some way. Again, one of the weaker songs on the record, but not bad by a long shot. Savage Good Boy. It's a song based around the lyric "A $1 billion bunker for two," where Zonner sings from the point of view of a rich billionaire tycoon trying to woo a young woman into having kids and being with him, and just like, trying to take a stance of greed and like somewhat of a villain stance in order to have someone that they try to have someone like. It's very odd, and the music video is something, but yeah. In Hell is a companion song to In Heaven, which was off the band's first album, Psychopomp, while In Heaven was about the death of a dog, Michelle's childhood dog, and how they were able to put her down very quickly and abruptly. In Hell is the opposite of that. Again, it's based around Zonner's mother's death. Her mother died slowly and painfully of pancreatic cancer, and In Hell reflects on that feeling of being hopeless and being unable to do something for somebody you care about, wanting to put them out of their misery in that pain. It's I believe Zonner said it was one of the hardest songs and one of the saddest songs to write because of that. Tactics is a song about toxic relationships. After the death of Zonner's mother, Michelle and her father quickly grew distant and became estranged from each other, with her father now living in Thailand as of some time, and Zonner across the planet. It's very interesting how she writes about it. While in the novel, she talks about how her and her father were close growing up. They grew more and more apart after the death of her mother, and eventually that relationship became kind of toxic. The instrumentals, the violins, the grand orchestration feel like they're out of a Disney film, and it's so beautiful. One of the best parts of the album. And closing it out is "Posing for Cars," a song about loving your partner. It's in Zonner's words. It's the 4-minute instrumentation that is just at the end of the song is about how two people can appreciate each other and with affection that can only be expressed through guitar. It's a really beautiful, beautiful album, and it's no wonder that it was nominated for a Grammy. I can't say enough good things about it, and even though I gave it 8 out of 10, it's still an impressive piece, and it's something that's been on my mind for the past couple of weeks ever since I picked it up. It's such a good album, and I'm glad I read the novel, or her memoir, and I'm glad I was able to pick up this record on a whim. Anyway, that's what I'm going to call it here for today. My camera's overheating, and so am I, so that's what I'm calling it. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you tomorrow, and until then, later.